Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars. Topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and I am your host, Jesse Tapia. All right, so it is Wednesday, middle of the week, and here's what we're talking about today. All right, first up, we're going to be recapping yesterday's NBA games, which was Tuesdays. Next segment, I should say, we're going to be talking about the little, can I call it a little budding rivalry between the Lakers and Nuggets? I think so. All right, you got Lakers fans on Twitter who hate Jamal Murray. All right, despise him. Let's see what else we got going on in that little thing. You got Randall and Jokic getting into it, or Jokic, I should say, getting into it towards the end of yesterday's game. Pretty much just some bad blood between the teams, so we're going to be talking about that in the second segment. Not going to be recapping that game in the first. We'll just move it over to the second. So that's how it's going to go for the first two segments. Third segment, we're going to be talking about all the Celtics injuries once again. All right, talk about how Terry Rozier needs to step up. We'll be talking about the Wizards. They got a guy coming back from injury pretty soon, Jamal. We'll be talking about that. And for the fourth segment, we'll be talking pretty much about anything else going on in the world of basketball. Maybe talking about the NCAA tournament a tiny bit. All right, looks like St. Bonaventure might be that one team that's upsetting everyone this tournament. Who knows? We'll be doing that, though. And we'll be making my picks for tonight's NBA game. So that's how the show's going to go. So let's just get into it now. For the first game, we had the Indiana Pacers facing off with the Philadelphia 76ers in Philly, and the Pacers won this one 101-98. All right, for Indiana, you had Thaddeus Young with 19 points, 10 rebounds, shot 7 of 11, Bojan Bogdanovic had 2 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 1 of 11, 0 of 5 from the three-point line. Miles Turner had 25 points, 6 rebounds, shot 9 of 12, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Corey Joseph had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 5 of 8. Victor Oladipo, probably his worst game of the season, only had 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 4 of 21, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Dario Saric had 18 points for Philly, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 4 of 11. Robert Covington had 10 points, 10 rebounds, shot 4 of 9, 2 of 7 from the three-point line. Joel Embiid, he had 29 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 11 of 22, 0 of 5 from the three-point line there. And then Ben Simmons had a triple-double on this one, 10 points, 10 assists, 13 rebounds, shot 4 of 10. And then we had JJ Redick with 16 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, shot 6 of 10, and 4 of 5 from the three-point line. But once again, like I said, the Pacers won that one, 101-98. Pacers are a good basketball team right now. They're playing real good basketball. It's a team that, believe it or not, could possibly make a run into the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, right now, Boston's kind of scaring me with how they've been playing and all their injuries. Cleveland just doesn't really move the needle for me anymore. I mean, it would take LeBron to have a pretty much how he did in 2007. Just needs to dominate the entire time and take that team single-handedly to the Eastern Conference Finals. All right. Right now, Indiana is the 3 seed. Cleveland's the 4 seed. I mean, the only way they'd see each other is if they played each other in the Eastern Conference Finals. And like I said, right now, I like Toronto a whole bunch right now in the East. So, I don't know. It could very well be Toronto versus Indiana in the Eastern Conference Finals series. As for the next game, though, we had the Minnesota Timberwolves facing off with the Washington Wizards, and Minnesota won this one 116-111. Minnesota's been playing all right without Jimmy Butler. I'm not going to go out and say that they're better without him, but they've been playing pretty good, pretty much picking up the slack since he's been out. All right, for Minnesota, you had Taj Gibson with 10 points, 8 rebounds. You had Andrew Wiggins with 16 points, shot 7 of 14. 0 of 2 from the three-point line. Once again, I'm happy Andrew Wiggins starting to take less and less threes, I guess you could say, for like the last week or so, right? The more he takes threes, the more his game is going to get worse. But if he's driving in a whole bunch, then he's going to be fine. You got Karl Anthony Towns with 37 points, 10 rebounds, shot 13 of 17, 3 of 3 from the three-point line. Jeff Teague, he had 13 points, 5 assists, shot 6 of 11, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. For the Wizards, you had Markeith Morris with 27 points, 4 rebounds, shot 10 of 15, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Otto Porter had a bad game here, only 8 points, 7 rebounds, shot 4 of 14, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. Bradley Beal had 19 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 8 of 16, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Tomas Satoransky with 15 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, shot 4 of 7 from the field, and 1 of 1 from the three-point line. Satoransky, obviously when Wall gets back, he's going to lose his starting spot, but Satoransky could be that player in the playoffs for the Wizards where you need a spark off the bench. He could be exactly that. The dude's been on fire since he got inserted into the starting lineup. Really hasn't had too many bad games or anything like that. More so been productive rather than not. So, I mean, against a team like the Cavs, that's going to be coming in clutch because I'm sure it's going to end up being Washington versus Cleveland in that first round. And that's going to be a tough series for the Cavs right there. Like I said, I mean, right now it's just LeBron. And I know that there's the whole, maybe I'm talking about like LeBron didn't have help, but it's just a matter of this team just isn't as good, and we gotta, I don't know. Just right now, I like the Wizards a whole bunch right now. And, I mean, we could see possibly the Sixers jump over to 5th and the Wizards drop to 6th if Wizards drop a couple of games, but we'll see. But either way, like I said, Timberwolves won this one 116 to 111. As for the Timberwolves, I mean, not much to really talk about with them. Won another game here. Let's see, they're currently the 6th seed in the West, would be facing off with the Trailblazers in the first round if the season ended today. That'd be a nice little fun series there, too. I mean, the Timberwolves, when they get Jimmy Butler back, they'll be a better team. So I think they'd be the favorites against a team like Portland, and Portland's always struggled to get out of win a playoff series for that matter. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all shapes up, because in the West right now, I mean, it's only a couple, there's only a couple games that separate pretty much every team in that from 3 through 8. So we'll see how it all ends up. As for the next game, though, we had the Oklahoma City Thunder facing off with the Atlanta Hawks. Oklahoma City won this one 119 to 107. Melo had 21 points, 4 rebounds, shot 7 of 15, 6 of 11 from the three-point line. Corey Brewer only had 7 points in this one. Paul George, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 7 of 12. Russell Westbrook, he had 32 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, shot 12 of 20 there. Westbrook's been taking less and less threes. I feel the last couple of weeks. I don't know, maybe something to pay attention to. Off the bench, you had Jeremy Grant with 20 points, 5 rebounds, shot 8 of 14. And for the Hawks, you had John Collins with 10 points, 9 rebounds, shot 5 of 10. Taurean Prince with 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 9 of 20. 3 of 8 from the three-point line. Dwayne Dedmon only had 5 points, 6 rebounds. And then you had Dennis Schroeder with 18 points, 8 assists, shot 6 of 16, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Let's see, the Thunder are currently the 4th seed right now. They'd be facing off with the Pelicans. That'd be a tough series for the Thunder, but I think I don't know, the Pelicans, I don't want to jump off that bandwagon too much, but the Thunder have been playing better the last couple of weeks. And, I mean, if you're a team that's hot going into the playoffs, I mean, you really got nothing to worry about. So it's going to be interesting to see. That'd probably be the most intriguing, toughest series for me to pick there, the Thunder and the Pelicans, because I really like what the Pelicans have been doing. But I'm starting to like what the Thunder have been doing the last couple of weeks. All right, as for the next game, we have the Toronto Raptors facing off with the Brooklyn Nets, and Toronto won this one 116 to 102. For Toronto, you had Serge Ibaka with 9 points, 9 rebounds, shot 2 of 6 there. Jonas Valanciunas had 26 points, 14 rebounds. DeMar DeRozan had 15 points, 7 rebounds, shot 6 of 12. Kyle Lowry didn't shoot the ball that well in this game. Shot 4 of 13 from the field, 1 of 8 from the three-point line, 11 assists, 11 points. Off the bench, you had Fred VanVleet with 15 points, 4 assists, shot 5 of 10, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. You had Darrell Wright with 10 points, 4 assists, shot 4 of 6, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. For the Nets, you had DeMar Carroll with average game, I guess you could say, 9.6 rebounds, shot 3 of 7. Spencer Dinwiddie shot the ball poorly in this one, 2 of 11 from the field, 1 of 4 from the three-point line, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. D'Angelo Russell's been on a bit of a hot streak lately. 32 points, 7 rebounds, 10 of 22 shooting, 7 of 12 from the three-point line. Then off the bench, you had Rondae Hollis-Jefferson with 19 points, 7 rebounds, shot 7 of 11 there. I mean, business as usual for the Toronto Raptors, won this one easily. As for the Nets, I mean, just pretty much playing for pride, like I said. If anything, Cleveland's watching Brooklyn closely, hoping they lose every game. As for the next game, we had Dallas facing off with New York, and the Mavericks won this one 110 to 97. For Dallas, you had Harrison Barnes with 30 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 10 of 19 there. Dirk Nowitzki had 13 points, 6 rebounds, shot 5 of 10, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Yogi Ferrell had 10 points, 4 of 8 shooting, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Dennis Smith Jr., 17 points, 6 of 19 shooting, 3 of 8 from the three-point line, 3 rebounds in that one. For the Knicks, you had Tim Hardaway Jr. with 19 points, shot 8 of 17, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. Anis Kanter, only 3 points in this one, but did bring in 15 rebounds. Manuel Mudiay had 10 points, shot 4 of 9, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Then you had Michael Beasley with 21 points, 4 rebounds, shot 10 of 13 off the bench. really nothing to talk about here. Both teams just tanking. Knicks need to start losing a bunch more games if they want to pretty much catch up. I mean, they are only 2 games, have 2 more wins than the Mavericks. Let's see. You get the Mavericks with 22 wins, Kings with 21, Suns with 19, Memphis with 18. The Knicks are still behind the Bulls with 23, Brooklyn with 21, Magic with 20, and the Hawks with 20 wins also. So, I mean, Knicks got to keep losing. They're close. They've lost 8 in a row. Just got to keep it going if they want to get that top 5 pick. As for the next game, you have the LA Clippers facing off with the Chicago Bulls. And, of course, the Clippers won this one 112-106. Tobias Harris had 18 points, shot 6 of 14, 4 of 8 from the three-point line. DeAndre Jordan, 29 points, 18 rebounds, shot 11 of 12 there. Austin Rivers, he had 12 points, 6 assists, 4 of 11 shooting. Lou Williams got to start in this one, 26 points, 5 assists, shot 6 of 15. As for the Bulls, you had Robin Lopez with 12 points, 3 rebounds. Queer Dunn had 18 points, 6 assists, shot 6 of 9. Zach LaVine, 9 from him, 3 of 13 from the field, 1 of 5 from the three-point line, 6 rebounds, 10 points. And then off the bench, you had Bobby Portis with 19 points, 9 rebounds, shot 8 of 19, and 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Once again, Clippers won that one, 112-106. As for the Pelicans, they faced off with the Charlotte Hornets in New Orleans, and the Pelicans won this one 119-115. For Charlotte, you had Marvin Williams with 2 points, 9 rebounds, shot 1 of 8 there. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist had 7 points, 6 rebounds. Dwight Howard had 22 points, 11 rebounds, shot 9 of 12. Dwight Howard's been having a pretty nice season, but no one really talks about Dwight because of the fact that people don't really like Dwight. All right, Kemba Walker, he had 22 points, 7 assists, shot 9 of 20, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Nicholas Batum had 20 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 7 of 16. And then off the bench, you had Frank Kaminsky with 21 points, shot 9 of 13, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Jeremy Lamb had 16 points, 6 rebounds, shot 5 of 9. And Malik Monk got 12 minutes in this one, but didn't really do much. Shot 1 of 4 from the field, 1 of 3 from the three-point line, and had 3 points, of course. As for the Pelicans, Anthony Davis, just business as usual, 31 points, 14 rebounds, shot 13 of 26. Etuan Moore had 14 points, 6 rebounds, shot 6 of 14, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Emeka Okafor had a solid game in this one, 14 points, 8 rebounds, shot 7 of 14. Rajon Rondo, 12 points, 17 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 6 of 13. If the Pelicans want to make it out that first round, they need Rondo to step up big time, kind of like how he did with the Bulls last season before he got hurt. Drew Holiday, he had 25 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, shot 11 of 21, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Then off the bench, you had the usual suspects, Nikolai Mirotic with 11 points, 9 rebounds, shot 4 of 9, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. And Ian Clark with yet another good game, 12 points, shot 5 of 6, and 1 of 2 from the three-point line. I like what the Pelicans are doing, all right? Just as long as Rondo's playing well, Drew Holiday's playing well, and pretty much you got Mirotic and Ian Clark playing well off the bench. I mean, this team's going to be solid. You always know that Anthony Davis is going to step up, and Emeka Okafor has been quite the revelation for this team, pretty much stepping up in the starting center position and producing. So I like the Pelicans right now. As for the next game, you got the Orlando Magic facing off with the Spurs, and the Magic shouldn't even showed up. This was garbage. All right, the Spurs won this one 108-72. For the Magic, you had Jonathan Isaac with 7 points, 5 rebounds. Jonathan Simmons, 10 points, shot 3 of 13, 1 of 5 from the three-point line. Nikolai Vucevic with 10 points, 10 rebounds, shot 5 of 14. And you had DJ Augustine with 9 points, 6 assists, shot 3 of 7. Literally no reason to talk about their bench because their bench was garbage too. All right, for the Spurs, you had LaMarcus Aldridge with 24 points, 7 rebounds, shot 11 of 17. Patty Mills had 13 points, 3 assists, shot 4 of 8. 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Dejounte Murray had 11 points, 8 rebounds, shot 5 of 7. And you had Danny Green with 11 points, 3 of 9 shooting, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. I mean, you got to be... That's terrible. You only put up 72 points. How are you professionals in the NBA and you're that bad as far as just playing? All right, just terrible right there by the Magic. I do know they're trying to tank, but, I mean, at least try and hide it a bit. As for the next game, I mean, Detroit did no better, really. All right, they lost to Utah 110-79. Detroit's just been terrible all year. You had Blake Griffin with 13 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. No clue what they were trying to do at the trade deadline, bringing in Griffin. I mean, what was the point? If anything, you're just wasting his career, wasting this season with him starting there. You might as well just try and tank. All right, he shot 5 of 16. Stanley Johnson had 5 points, 2 of 8 from the field there shooting. Andre Drummond had 13 points, 11 rebounds, shot 4 of 8. Ish Smith had 9 points. Then off the bench, you had Luke Kennard with 18 points, 5 rebounds, shot 8 of 13 from the field. You might as well just have Luke Kennard start in the starting 5. I mean, there's no point to have him coming off the bench. Dude's a rookie. Keep trying to develop him. As for everything else, I mean, Detroit's just terrible. Then Utah, you had Derek Favors with 12 points, 4 rebounds, shot 5 of 7. Joe Ingles had 17 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, shot 6 of 10, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Rudy Gobert had 22 points, 12 rebounds, shot 9 of 12. Donovan Mitchell had 13 points, 9 rebounds, shot 4 of 10. Off the bench, you had Jay Crowder with 14 points, 4 rebounds, shot 5 of 8. Jonas Jerebko had 16 points, 8 rebounds, shot 6 of 9. And, I mean, Jay Crowder's been playing extremely well since he got with the Jazz. I mean, with Cleveland, it just didn't work out. Just wasn't much of a fit there. And then for the final game that we're going to be talking about for this segment, speaking of Cleveland, they beat the Phoenix Suns 129-107. Larry Nance played 14 minutes in this one, only had 4 points, 2 rebounds. LeBron had a triple-double, 28 points, 11 assists, 13 rebounds, shot 7 of 14, 1 of 2 from the three-point line. Jeff Green had 11 points, 4 rebounds, shot 4 of 12. Kyle Korver got the start in this one, 22 points, 4 rebounds, shot 6 of 7, 5 of 6 from the three-point line. Off the bench, you had J.R. Smith, who shot 5 of 12, 2 of 4 from the three-point line, 5 rebounds, 14 points. Jordan Clarkson had a big game in this one, 23 points, shot 8 of 14, 6 of 10 from the three-point line. And you had Ante Zizic, all right, guy they got in the Kyrie Irving trade, had 11 points, 4 rebounds, 5 of 5 shooting in 15 minutes. Maybe that's a guy who steps up for the Cavs and pretty much helps them out a bit when the playoffs come. For the Suns, I mean, you had T.J. Warren with 19 points, 10 rebounds, shot 8 of 17. Alfred Payton had 10 points, 7 assists, shot 4 of 10. Devin Booker, 17 points, 6 assists, shot 7 of 16. You had Josh Jackson with 19 points, shot 6 of 15, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. And once again, like I said, the Cleveland Cavaliers won this one 129-107. All right, those are all the games we're going to talk about for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking about Denver versus LA. All right, we're going to be talking about the little rivalry they got going on. And then for the third segment, we'll be talking about Boston's injuries, pretty much if they got it this year as far as how far they could go. Talk about the Wizards, talk about them getting John Wall back. And for the fourth segment, we'll be talking about whatever else is going on in the NBA and making my picks for tonight's game. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with the second segment.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. In that first segment, we recapped all the NBA games from yesterday besides one. All right, for this one, we're going to be talking about that one. We'll be talking about the Denver Nuggets and Lakers game from yesterday. All right, we're going to talk about the little rivalry they got going on. It's kind of weird to see that the Nuggets and Lakers are starting to have, pretty much starting to build a little tiny rivalry. Right? And if you haven't been paying attention, I mean, Jamal Murray and Laker fans really don't get along. Jamal Murray and Lakers players don't get along, and Jamal Murray and Luke Walton doesn't get along. All right, so there's all that going on. Yesterday, you had Julius Randle and Nikola Jokic. I got to start remembering to say Jokic, but either way, you had those two getting into it towards the end of the game. So it's just one big old family fight. But either way, let's talk about the game first, all right? So you had Denver facing off with the Lakers in LA, and the Lakers won this one 112-103. For Denver, you had Paul Millsap with 5 points, 5 rebounds, shot 2 of 5 there. Wilson Chandler had 26 points, 10 rebounds, shot 11 of 16, 4-7 from the three-point line. Nikola Jokic had 15 points, 9 rebounds, shot 5 assists, shot 5 of 8, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Jamal Murray, everyone's favorite Nugget to hate. All right, he had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 5-11, 3-7 from the three-point line. Gary Harris had 14 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, shot 6 of 17 there. 2 of 7 from the three-point line. And then for the Lakers, you had Julius Randle with 26 points, 13 rebounds, shot 11 of 17. Kyle Kuzma had 26 points also had 13 rebounds, shot 10 of 20, 5-11 from the three-point line. Brook Lopez had 17 points, as you've all come to notice, he does not rebound. He only had 3 rebounds in this one. Shot 6 of 13, 3-6 from the three-point line. Lonzo Ball struggled to shoot in this one. 5 points, 2 of 11 from the field, 1 of 7 from the three-point line, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 3 of 6 there. 1 of 4 from the three-point line. And then you had Isaiah Thomas off the bench, who's been playing really well with the Lakers. It's kind of talks, like little rumors going around. Maybe they could bring him back next year, pretty much sign him to a long-term contract. Possibly, who knows? But he had 23 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 7 of 19, 4 of 9 from the three-point line. Once again, those Lakers won this one 112 to 103. So let's talk about the little rivalry we got going on. We're even going to talk about each team individually too. All right, but either way, the Lakers and Nuggets, like I said, that's probably like the weirdest little story that's going on this season. Well, not weirdest, but just you wouldn't expect these two teams to have beef with each other. And beef meaning they don't like each other. All right, you just wouldn't really expect it. And sure enough, here we are. All right, and this all started, I think it was the first game they played against each other this season where the Nuggets won. And you had Jamal Murray at the end of the game, and he dribbles the ball around Lonzo Ball. All right, he did that. Lakers weren't happy about it, whatever. It wasn't really much of a story at the time, unless it was just between Lakers fans, all right? Second game comes, which was a fun game to watch, all right? You had Jamal Murray, who, I can't remember exactly what happened at the end, because I didn't switch it off watching. I think that was the same night as the Duke North Carolina game, the ACC tournament. I flipped over to that once the Nuggets weren't going to be losing at the last few seconds. So I think Jamal Murray did something where he dribbled towards the Lakers end of the court, and Luke Walton had some words to say about him. Can't remember exactly. Maybe it was about scoring in garbage time. Either way, like I said, just can't remember exactly, but that was a problem there. And then Lakers Twitter was blowing up, all right? You had Lakers fans saying all kinds of stuff about Jamal Murray. All right? You can tell Jamal Murray is now public enemy number 1 for that team. All right, they hate him. All right, specifically talking about the fans. I mean, I'm sure Lakers players don't like him either. But anyway, you had that happen, and then boom, you got this game coming up. You got Julius Randle saying he already forgot about the Cleveland game. Now he's getting ready for this one. And I know the Lakers wanted this one bad. All right, Nuggets already beat them twice this season. They needed this game, and sure enough, they got the win here. All right, but I mean, I like this. I like how this is starting to become a rivalry as these teams are young and developing still. All right. These teams aren't as good as they will be in the future, but nonetheless, I like how this is starting now, okay? I'm hoping the Lakers do not bring in LeBron or Paul George. They have the perfect young core right now. Lonzo, you got Ingram, Randle, and Kuzma. And I really hope to bring back Randle too. That's one thing before I even get into anything else. Randle's been kind of a player where it's at the beginning of the season it was more so he's going to get traded or he's just not going to be back with the team next season. I think the Lakers would have to pick up his option or just sign him to a lengthy deal, a big deal for Randle since this is the last year of his rookie deal, I believe. And like I said, they could pick up his option, but I don't even think they did that. All right, so there was like a foreseen thing that Randle wasn't going to be with the team after this year. And sure enough, the dude's been on fire this season, all right? Probably one of the best players on that team this season. And I'd go as far to say maybe he has played the best this season, all right? Lonzo Ball's been kind of off and on. His stats, more so his assists, rebounds, and all those advanced stats are pretty good. But as far as him scoring the ball, it just hasn't worked out. And like I said, he's been more so off and on. Kyle Kuzma's been pretty solid all year, but I'd still say Randle's been having the better year as far as all around everything. And Ingram has been hurt for not a lot of the season, but he's missed certain periods of time. So I say that Randle's been probably the best all-around consistent player for this team this season, all right? And I think the Lakers would be making a mistake letting him go because he's going to go to a good team. Randle's not a bad player or anything like that. He's a guy that can go and help a contending team, all right? And he could even, I don't think he's a guy who can go out and lead a team, but maybe that's a guy you could put on a developing team and try and build around him also along with the other players you got going on there. All right, maybe, I was going to say he could be play well in the Sixers. If you switched him and Sarge, I'd say the Sixers would get better. But either way, I mean, I like the way Randle's been playing. But as far as it all goes down, I mean, like I said, I like the way that they're building this rivalry. I like how it's starting to come about. All right, and it's like it's the Lakers and Nuggets. It's not like it's Lakers Celtics or Lakers Clippers or anything like that. But this is one of those, kind of like how the Celtics and Wizards were the last couple of years before this season. Obviously, there's no rivalry there because the Celtics pretty much traded everyone away or got rid of everyone from that team from last year. But it's like out of division, and it's pretty much these teams just don't like each other. That's all it is. All right, and that's exactly how it is with the Lakers and Nuggets. And the biggest part about it is both these teams are young. All right, you got Lonzo who's going to be developing even more, going to get even better. Ingram's going to get even better. Kuzma's going to get even better. There's going to be a point where these teams are both playoff teams. Nuggets are very close to being there. They're fringe 8th seed, all right, going to be right on the outside possibly. Lakers they could very well make the 8th seed next year. All right, a couple moves here, a couple moves there, maybe a solid draft pick there. All right, actually, I don't even think they have the first-round draft pick this season. So, I mean, they're going to have to fix through free agency. But either way, Lakers should be a playoff team next year, whether it be LeBron and Paul George is there or whether they're not. I think the Lakers are going to be that good next season. So it's going to be interesting. The games are going to mean that much more now that teams are going to be playing in the playoffs. And it's going to get even tougher and even rougher, I think. I mean, you got Randall pretty much tossing Jokic to the side and towards the end of the game. And I've noticed that too. Randall was saying that Jokic was flopping a lot and he didn't really like the way he plays, and he was holding on to Randall, and that's why Randall tossed him. And I can't see that. I mean, Jokic does flop quite a bit. All right, I'd say it goes far to say that he probably is top 5 flopper right there, fringe 5, maybe 6, top 10 for sure. All right, one thing he needs to work on too is his defense. Jokic's defense, if he were to fix up his defense and be, I don't know if I want to say a better rim protector, but pretty much a guy who could guard players a whole lot better, then he'd probably be more regarded as a top 5 center in this league because he's got the talent. I mean, you got Joel Embiid, you got DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah, I know DeMarcus Cousins blew out his Achilles, but either way, he's a top 5 center when he's out there. All right, and that's the thing. You got DeAndre Jordan. Who else would you put out there? All right, who else? Clint Capella. Yeah, he's been a top 5 center this season. And then maybe you fit in Jokic there. I like Jokic better than Gobert. All right, Gobert's a nice little player for the Jazz, but I'd say Jokic is better just because he does more in the offensive end. Gobert has him on the defensive side, but just all around as far as the offensive end goes, Jokic is out here passing the ball, getting boards, and scoring points. I think that's where I like Jokic there. But either way, real excited for this little rivalry. I think this is the last time these teams play each other all season because I think it's and you play your division, teams in your division 4 times and teams outside of the division in your conference 3 times a year. So I think this was the last game we got all season from these two teams. So it's going to be interesting next season how it all ends up. And again, this rivalry will go away if the Lakers end up getting rid of their core players, all right? They bring in a LeBron or a Paul George. I mean, I don't really see a fit for Brandon Ingram if you bring in a Paul George. Like, I really hope Magic doesn't end up bringing in those guys. I get that you're the Lakers. You want to sell tickets. You want to bring in this little thing where people think, oh, yeah, people want to come play for the Lakers, even though it hasn't been true ever besides Shaq. But I really hope he does the smart thing. The smart thing would be let these players develop. All right, and I think that's starting to become more of an idea now. Not so more so with the Lakers within their organization, but within people who watch the game, analysts, writers, and all that. They're starting to see, you know what, this young Lakers team does have something they're on the cusp of. All right, they do have something that they can develop and build off of, but I'm not sure they're going to be doing it. I think Magic is going to end up blowing it up, and like I said, I really hope he doesn't. So we'll see how it all ends up. But really liking the fact that these teams are starting to develop a rivalry. And like I said, I mean, the Nuggets are a fringe playoff team, going to be a team that's in there next year, I feel, for sure. And the Lakers are going to be an 8th seed type team where they get even more competitive, right? Even now, so the Lakers started off the season really poorly, but now they've gotten really competitive. I mean, they blew out Cleveland the other day. And like I said, they're playing good against pretty much every other team in the league. So we'll see how it all ends up, but it's going to be interesting to see. Really excited for this. So that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Celtics injuries, talking about the Wizards when they get John Wall back, and pretty much, I don't know, maybe we'll fit the Warriors in there. I think Klay Thompson fractured his thumb or something like that. So maybe we'll talk about Klay and the Warriors in the 4th segment. But either way, that's how the rest of the show is going to go. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. So far today, we've talked about yesterday's NBA games, and we talked about the little rivalry that the Denver Nuggets and LA Lakers got going on, right? Kind of like the Celtics and Wizards rivalry from the last couple of years. This year, it's not so much one. And like I said, this whole rivalry thing between the Nuggets and Lakers, I mean, it won't last till into next year if the Lakers end up getting like a LeBron James or a Paul George guy on that team, because of the fact that, I mean, you get LeBron, you get Paul George. If you're a Lakers fan, you got to realize that the team you see now is going to be completely different from the team you see next year. You're not going to be having those young guys on the team, right? You're not going to be having I don't even think Lonzo Ball's on that team with LeBron there, all right? Brandon Ingram, if Paul George is there, I don't see a fit for him, all right? There's a whole bunch of guys that are going to be gone, I feel. But either way, those are just my thoughts. I could be wrong. Maybe they could keep him, try and make it work, but I just don't see a team or how LeBron plays on that team. And you got LeVar Ball constantly with ESPN putting him on a pedestal, talking about everything. So who knows? Anyways, though, we're going to be talking about the Celtics injuries for this segment and the Wizards getting John Wall back whenever they do, how that's going to affect them. All right, so let's get into it. Celtics got 5 guys out for the game tonight against the Wizards. Speaking of that, all right, you got Kyrie out, Jaylen Brown's out, Horford's out, Smart's out, and I think, Tice is out. All right, obviously Tice is probably going to be out for the rest of the year, so, I mean, there's that. So the injuries are hitting, obviously, Boston at the worst time possible. Got about, 15 or so games left, a little bit more, a little bit less. Either way, that's what's going on, all right? I mean, Boston is a team who, they are the second seed in the East. Probably could make the argument that they are the second best team in the East. All right, like I said, I'm not even sure Cleveland is the third or fourth best team in the East. All right, the Pacers are right there with Boston as far as talent, I think, as of right now. It's based on how they've both been playing. So, I mean, with Boston right now, it's just a matter of, it might just be one of those where, like, next year is their year. All right, Toronto's playing unbelievable this season, can't really be stopped. Indiana's playing great, and Boston, like I said, they're just getting hit with injuries at the worst possible time. And I mean, this all could just be a bit of an overreaction because Jaylen Brown will be back unless his concussion is just something that's a bigger problem than we all have realized or thought of. All right, Al Horford, I mean, that dude's just been sick for like the last couple of weeks, I feel, so he'll be back. Kyrie's a bit of a weird injury, all right, because Kyrie, remember, he broke his kneecap that one year in the finals against the Warriors. And I guess he's just been dealing with it ever since. Never got surgery for it, so he's been dealing with knee surgery or knee soreness ever since. And that's been like why. You see Kyrie Irving in these games with Boston, he's not playing in them. It's because of the knee soreness. All right, they rest him pretty much and just try and manage that as the season progresses. And like I said, that's just a weird little injury. I don't even know if you call it an injury or if I don't know. All right, you can't even call it an injury really. I mean, it's just more so. How does that affect them going forward into the playoffs, all right? And even in the offseason, I mean, once the playoffs get here, you're not going to be able to have Kyrie sitting because of knee soreness, all right? You're going to need him out there every game because if he's not out there every game, Boston has no chance whatsoever. I mean, right now, they could pretty much take it easy as the season goes on. Let me see how many games they got left. So far, they've played 67 games, got 15 games left, and they're 6.5 games up on the Pacers right now. I think Boston is good enough to where they can manage throughout the rest of the season as far as the injuries go. I'm talking regular season. All right, go as far as pretty much just manage everyone. You could sit Kyrie a little bit more. All right, you could sit Jaylen until he's ready to go completely. And one thing with Marcus Smart, that's the injury that hurts them the most. All right. Because Kyrie, he's going to be out there. We all know that. All right? I know I'm saying that he needs to be out there and he can't be missing games in playoffs, and I highly doubt that he will. But Marcus Smart is the injury that scares me for this team. All right, and Marcus Smart, that's a bit of a weird player as far as what people think about him in the league. Marcus Smart is more so known for the fact that he's a bit of a flopper. Not a bit. He's probably the biggest flopper in the league. All right, knows how to sell it pretty well. And he doesn't shoot the ball very well at all. All right, his offensive game is kind of, I don't want to say non-existent because I don't know. He does the intangible stuff. He gets rebounds, gets assists, but he just doesn't really score the ball. All right, but he's that guy where on the defensive end, he's the best probably defensive player on that team. All right, you can make a case for Al Horford, but just all around guarding positions 1 through 5, Smart can do it all. All right, and 1 through 5 meaning a little over exaggerated, but he can guard the 4, and we've seen that before. All right, but either way, losing a guy like Marcus Smart for the rest of the season is pretty much like losing let's see, it's like losing that spark off the bench. All right, losing that guy where he can pick up the momentum and pretty much get the rest of the team going. And what player could I compare that to in the league right now? All right, I guess it's more so like the Lou Williams type guys coming off the bench, doing a job to where it helps the team big time. Let's see. I mean, the Warriors, they don't really have a guy like that on that team, I believe. Maybe like a Sean Livingston type, I guess. Like a JaVale McGee maybe, but he starts now. Let's see. This is tough. Like an Eric Gordon, like an Eric Gordon type player. It's pretty much, I don't know, like and those players are all, I think, better than Marcus Smart, but Marcus Smart just has like that it factor, you know? And you don't really know what it is, but he has it. There's something about him. When he comes onto the court, he just changes the way that the team plays, and pretty much the team elevates themselves. All right, I'm not sure what his plus minus is, but I'm pretty sure it'd be pretty high if I checked it out. All right, but either way, that's the injury that scares me the most for Boston. And like I said, I think Boston is just more so a year away. All right, it was supposed to be this year, Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward leading the way, but I mean, remember that first game of the season against Cleveland? You got Gordon Hayward who goes up for the alley-oop, and then Crowder and LeBron bump into him, and Hayward comes back down, and next thing you know, you see the screen, and his ankle's pretty much falling off his body, it looked like. All right, and that's one thing that, I don't know, it's kind of weird how it's kind of encouraging, and I don't know, it's, yeah, because not the injury, but the more so the fact that Boston has been able to play so well without a guy like that on their team. All right, because right now they were the 1 seed for most of the season. Now Toronto's pretty much taken that, and Boston's not catching up. I don't think they're 4 games back at Toronto, and Toronto is just, they're not looking back right now. They're playing extremely good basketball. So I mean, with that, even being the second best team in the East right now, once you add Gordon Hayward, you're going to get even better. All right, so that's why I say where they're just a year back right now. They're just a year away. This whole rebuild thing has been going on since whatever they think 2012 when they traded Pierce on Garnett. All right, and it's pretty much they've gotten better year after year. All right, I think when they brought in Stevens, they were like what, when 25, 28 games that season. Next year they end up making the playoffs, I believe, at like 40, like 38 and 42 or something like that, 38 and 44, something like that. It was some crazy record that they have under 500. They made the playoffs. Or they might have been at 500. Either way, they do that. Next year, they end up finishing as like the 5 seed, the 4 seed, I believe. End up losing to the Hawks in the first round. And then this past year is when they ended up making to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to the Cavs 4-1. Or there was never mind. Yeah, they lost to the Cavs 4-1 last year, all right? So they've been progressing year after year, and this was, I think, was supposed to be that year where they take that next step of possibly getting into the finals, all right? And that's where the Gordon Hayward comes in. And that's what I think Boston's been missing all year. They've been missing a second scorer with Kyrie Irving. Jason Tatum is eventually going to become that. The dude is a nice little offensive player for that team, but he's a rookie right now and needs to develop some more. Jaylen Brown pretty much needs to just be more consistent. He has a jump shot, he has a three-point shot, but he's got to hit it consistently, all right? He's got to develop it some more. Al Horford is like that, like a Marcus Smart. He's intangibles, right? He can score on offense too, but he pretty much does everything else for that team, and that's what helps him out. But either way, I mean, the Celtics, with all these injuries, you got Daniel Tice too. Daniel Tice, that's a big injury for that team. Was a huge rim protector for that team, a rookie for this team. Pretty much was a defensive stopper for them as far as the rim goes, and he was playing extremely well after the All-Star break, was putting up points, double-doubles. So, I mean, that's just going to be a big loss there. So, Boston right now got injuries at the worst possible time. And even so, even if Tice doesn't get hurt, Smart doesn't get hurt, all those guys don't get hurt, I'm not sure they get past Toronto. All right? Toronto is just that good of a team right now. But that's all I got to say about the Celtics. Now, let's talk about the Wizards, the team that they'll be playing tonight. All right? The Wizards have been playing good basketball, obviously, as you can tell. I think, their last 10 games have been pretty below average, 4-6 in their last 10, lost 2 in a row. But nonetheless, I think you could say they were playing a whole lot better than what they were playing like when they had John Wall out there, right? When they had John Wall, I mean, this team was like a fringe 8th seed, all right? When he goes out, this team moves up. Now they're the 5th seed. They've been kind of switching off with the 4th seed. Now that Cleveland's the 4th seed, it's going to be tough for Washington to jump there. But either way, weren't playing all too good, all right? And the ball movement got a whole lot better once John Wall came out, once John Wall got hurt and left, all right? But what happens when John Wall gets back? I think that it's going to be different. I think when John Wall gets back, this team isn't going to take a step back or anything like that. I think once he's out there, they're going to be playing a whole lot better than what they were. All right, John Wall isn't a bad player, and I think it's just a matter of John Wall is the best player on that team, okay? By far, it's not close. All right, Bradley Beal's a great player, but just not on the level of John Wall. All right, and I just think it's more so when you got a player like that out there who's by far your best player, you're going to play to him a whole lot more than you do to anyone else. That's just how it is. When you see teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, I mean, obviously you're going to play to LeBron a whole lot more. The Rockets got Chris Paul and James Harden. James Harden's going to get the ball a whole bunch more, all right? The Warriors is the only team where you got a bunch of great players, but they all spread the ball out pretty well. And I think that's one thing that John Wall's got to realize, all right? If this team wants to succeed in the playoffs and get past Cleveland in the first round, if they end up matching up, John Wall's got to realize that, we got to share the ball, and it can't just be me taking over, or at least trying to, all right? John Wall's got to pretty much defer to everyone else. You got to defer to guys like Otto Porter. You got to defer to Bradley Beal. And I'm not saying John Wall can't go out and get his. Obviously, you got to go out and get your shots up. But you can't be doing that the entire game. Otto Porter is not a great player, he's a good player. And Bradley Beal is a great player. He's a top 5 shooting guard in this league. Could even argue that he'd be top 3. All right, so you got that. You got Markieff Morris, who's a solid little role player on that team, too, so in the starting 5. And then off the bench, you're going to have Satoransky and you have Kelly Oubre Jr. All right, both players who can create a spark. So John Wall, pretty much, when he gets back, if this team wants to continue playing well, you're going to have John Wall pretty much saying, you know what, it's not all about me. You got a bunch of good players around me, so you got to start using them a whole lot more rather than pretty much trying to take over. Because the Wizards, they do have a good team, and they do have a team that can knock off the Cavaliers. All right, believe it or not. Yes, I know the Cavs have LeBron James, but the Wizards, all around, let's take LeBron James off of the Cavs, and let's take John Wall off of the Wizards. Who would you say has the best team? All right, it'd be the Wizards still. Okay, so that's what I say when I'm meaning the Wizards have the better team. It's just LeBron James is the outlier there. He's the guy that pretty much keeps Cleveland up. If LeBron James wasn't on the Cavs, they have absolutely no chance at making playoffs. They just wouldn't be a good team at all. Kind of like how you saw once he left Cleveland, that team just went to the garbage. All right, it was terrible dumpster fire of a franchise. But with LeBron there, obviously, they're always going to be up. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about it a bit. Like I said, with the Celtics, it's just a matter of, I think they're just a year away still. All right, Gordon Hayward really, I don't want to say killed their season because they're still a good team in the East, but pretty much that took away something that they needed, which was a second scorer. Kind of like you saw with Isaiah Thomas in his time with Boston. Isaiah Thomas was the best offensive player on that team by far. Had one of the best offensive seasons in Celtics history last year. But the downfall of the Celtics was they had no one that Isaiah could defer to when he was getting doubled. All right, that's kind of how it's been this season. Celtics, they're averaging 104 points per game. That's pretty decent, I guess. It's average, but with Gordon Hayward, they'd be a whole lot better. And they don't have that second player on the Celtics right now that can go out and get his own. Terry Rozier, that's one guy too that needs to step up for the Celtics, and he's been doing so a little bit before the All-Star break and now, but he's got to be even better if Marcus Smart's going to be out. He's going to be that guy that pretty much is the spark off the bench, and he's kind of playing himself to the point where Boston eventually is going to have to figure out what they got to do with him because he's not going to be able to be a backup point guard for the rest of his career. Right? He's good enough to where he could be starting on some decent teams. So, I don't know. Either way, Terry Rozier's got to step up. And like I said, with the Wizards, not too worried about what they got going on when John Wall gets back. I'm sure they're going to be a good team. I'm sure John Wall realizes that he's going to have to share the ball a whole bunch more than how he did before. So, that's all I got to say about those two teams. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Warriors a bit, talking about Klay Thompson getting hurt. Maybe this is the year where the Warriors' injuries finally get the best of them. So, we'll be talking about that, making my picks for tonight's games, and pretty much talking about anything else that's going on in the league. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. So far today, what have we talked about? We recapped Wednesday's NBA games. Let's see, is today? Yeah, today's Thursday. Huh? Yeah, I believe today is today's Wednesday. Yeah, I got these days all mixed up. So we recapped Tuesday's NBA games. All right. We talked about the Lakers and Nuggets game, talked about the little rivalry they got going on. Third segment, we talked about the Celtics, all the injuries they got going on. We talked about the Wizards, too. Talked about them getting John Wall back soon. and pretty much how well they're going to be playing when he gets back. Personally, I think they'll be fine. I think that John Wall is going to realize, you know what, I got to get these other guys involved. Because that's one thing, too. The Wizards have been playing well because of all the ball movement. All right? And I think John Wall is going to realize that. And I think even then, John Wall is going to look a whole lot better if he's out there sharing the ball. And the team's going to look a whole lot better. So we'll see. As far as the Celtics go, like I said, I mean, they lose Marcus Smart for the season. That's going to be big trouble for them. All right, that's a guy you need off the bench, pretty much that spark you need. Terry Rozier is going to have to step up, so we'll see how it all ends up. Like I said, they're probably a year away either way. And, I mean, earlier talking about the Lakers and Nuggets, I was talking about how rivalry doesn't mean nothing next season if LeBron and Paul George come to town. It's going to be interesting, too, like, just free agency as it is. Like, where is LeBron going to end up? All right, we're going to go through this again. Remember last time LeBron was a free agent? It was just crazy, all over the place, and no one had any clue. Ends up going to Miami, and it was just like, just something changed in the NBA. Now we're going to see it again. We're going to see the best player in the NBA become a free agent. All right, and this is something that this doesn't happen in other leagues. All right, you don't see Tom Brady become a free agent. You don't see Aaron Rodgers become a free agent. All right, you don't see Mike Trout become a free agent. Bryce Harper, that's going to be like the first time solid, like a best player in baseball becomes a free agent next year. All right, it's just the NBA is just weird as it is. It's just how far pretty much free agency goes. Like these players, NBA's got it right. These players know what they're doing. They know you go wherever you want to go. You don't know anything to the team you're playing to. All right, and that's how it should be. Go out, get paid, and go wherever you want. So, yeah, we're going to go through the whole LeBron free agency thing. He's going to end up in Philly. He's going to end up in Houston. He's going to end up in LA. Or is he just going to stay in Cleveland? If he stays in Cleveland, I mean, I don't know. If he stays in Cleveland, there's not much left for him to do. I'll say this. He's not winning another title in Cleveland unless they get extremely younger and get actually some young, great up-and-coming players. All right? With the current squad, you're not winning a championship. All right, I think that's what the Cavs did, getting Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, and I can't say George Hill because the dude's been in the league for a while. But like guys like that, I think they're just preparing for the fact that LeBron is going to end up leaving. All right, and I don't know. I just don't see him coming back to the Cavs. If it's about winning, then you don't go to the Cavs. If it's about just pretty much finishing off your career and keeping a legacy, which I even think this hurts his legacy if he stays with the Cavs because he won't win a thing. But if he stays with the Cavs, like I said, it's the matter of finishing off his career. If it's about winning now, then it's about then he's going to the Rockets. If it's about pushing your career forward and making it last longer and having a chance to win in the future, you go to the Sixers. If it's about making money, you go to the Lakers. All right. So we see what's going on with LeBron, but either way, it'll be kind of interesting. All right. Last time he was a free agent, like I said, it was quite the time. So who knows? All right. And one team, as we see, I mean, remember last time he was a free agent, the Knicks thought they had a chance. Knicks are so terrible. All right, but either way, that's all I want to talk about right there. Let's talk about the Warriors for a second. All right, you got Klay Thompson, who's out with a fractured thumb. Looks like he's going to be out for 2 weeks. Warriors are starting to get hit with injuries. All right, the worst time. They've done pretty well to manage through it as far as giving players rest and all that. But I mean, that's what they got to do, honestly. All right, they're going to be out with Klay Thompson for 2 weeks. It's looking like going to get reevaluated on later in March. You're out with Curry, he's going to be out for 4 more games. So you're going to be out without Thompson and Curry for 4 games. Can this team win with Kevin Durant? No. All right, no, they can't. Kevin Durant's not a leader. All right, Draymond Green needs to be the leader on that team when these guys are out. But either way, if the Warriors go on like a little 2-game losing streak, 3-game losing streak, just rest your players going forward. All right, the 3 seed ain't catching you guys. Just rest your players, please. That way you're ready for the playoffs. All right, because if you're not resting these players, then you're going to struggle. All right, you got to make sure that you're completely 100% healthy going into the playoffs because, again, I do think that this team is going to beat the Rockets if they are healthy and the Rockets really don't stand a real true chance against them. Yeah, they can get it to 7 games, but I just have no doubts that, the Warriors are going to be coming out with the win in this series. All right, I just don't see a way that the Rockets end up winning the series unless they play perfect every single game. And I'm still on that little boat where I think that the way the Rockets play just isn't sustainable as far as shooting the 3 and getting to the free throw line. All right, I think that's not going to be what's not going to work against the Warriors. But as far as it all goes, Warriors maybe should they be a little bit worried as far as all the injuries that are happening right now? It's not like it's a bunch of injuries, but it's injuries to your 2 of your top 3 players on that team. All right, I don't know. Would you consider Klay Thompson a better NBA basketball player than Draymond Green? That's tough. I'm not sure if I would. But either way, Klay Thompson obviously means a lot to that team. And with Curry, Curry, honestly, I'm not bringing him back till he says I could run, jump, skip, fly, do all that with that ankle. All right? I'm just not. okay, because of the fact that, I mean, without Curry, this team doesn't work. Without Curry, this team doesn't make the finals. All right, it's simple as that. Curry is the glue to this team. So I say rest them all. When they're ready, they're ready. And if they're not ready, I guess, I don't know. It's weird with the Warriors. They really haven't dealt with injuries, I guess, for the last 3 years, honestly. All right, Curry's injuries were more so before the Warriors got good. Klay Thompson's always done well to stay pretty relatively healthy. Draymond Green, he's been relatively healthy his career. Kevin Durant, never had to worry too much about him as far as him being with the Warriors the last couple of years. So, I mean, now it's just starting to pile on a bit. So the Warriors got to be smart as far as how they deal with all this. But either way, I think they'll be fine. Still think they're the favorites in the league by far. All right, so there's that. I was kind of thinking earlier before I started the segment, when are the Kings going to get good? Honestly, the Kings have been bad for so long. All right, like in Sacramento, living out here, I mean, I follow a couple radio hosts and writers out here in Sacramento. I'd like to see what the fans tweet back at them as far as replies, what the Kings are doing. I mean, how do you continue to support a team like that? And I understand there's loyalty, so I get that part, but it's just, man, you had DeMarcus Cousins, best center in the league, for 6 years, and you did nothing to help him at all. It was kind of like LeBron with the Cavs from 2003 till he left. All right, they did not put any help around that guy. Remember, they consistently made the playoffs. All right, made the finals 1 year, I think it was, against the Spurs. Got swept. Other than that, lost to Boston a bunch of times. Lost to the Magic once. All right, it's just LeBron had no help on that team. And I hate seeing fans and analysts saying, "Oh, players got to make the players around them better." No, they don't. They don't. All right, you're an NBA player. You got to help yourself. All right, so the whole Boogie Cousins just didn't make players around him, and that's why they stunk. That's not a good enough excuse. All right, but either way, like, the Kings have been bad since what, 2008, 2006, whenever the last time they made the playoffs, and there's been no direction whatsoever. They have a couple of good young players on that team, but it's just they don't have, like, they're just, I don't know. The Kings are just a weird team. They're like this. They're like the Magic, all right? Bunch of young players, but can't really do anything to develop it. It's just pretty much garbage after garbage after garbage. But we'll see how it all ends up. So let's make my picks for tonight's NBA games, because the Kings are playing tonight. They're going to be playing against the Heat. Let's see. First up, though, we got the Bucks facing off with the Magic. Bucks are favored by 10. I mean, yesterday the Magic were just absolute trash. Only scored 72 points. That's embarrassing. I understand you're trying to tank, but at least show some pride. All right, but either way, I mean, the Bucks aren't losing this game. Magic aren't winning this game. I have no doubts about it. Going to see Brandon Jennings play again. All right, nearly had a triple-double in his first game back with the Bucks. Maybe he has a triple-double in this game. Maybe he drops 20 in this game. Brandon Jennings could very well drop 20 in this game against the Magic, and maybe that's my little bold prediction for the night. Brandon Jennings drops 20 points at least. All right, so yeah, I got the Bucks winning that one. Then we got the Wizards facing off with the Celtics in Boston. Boston's got everyone pretty much on that team injured. Wizards 4-6 in their last 10. Been kind of on a bit of a slump. Two-game losing streak. Second night of a back-to-back. I'm going to go with the Wizards. I really can't go with Boston in this one. If Boston ends up pulling it out, then Brad Stevens is a genius. But, I mean, the Wizards got to be the favorites in this one, as they are. So I'm picking the Wizards to win this one. Think Boston's going to play all right, but the Wizards should win this one by nearly 10 points, I think. All right, so yeah, I got the Wizards beating the Celtics. Then we got the Kings facing off with the Heat in Sacramento. Kings are trying to tank. No Scalabrine in this one. Let's see what's going on, if I can figure out what's going on with injuries. I know Hassan Whiteside, I don't think he played in the last game. Neither did Dwayne Wade. Let's see, he's day-to-day. Hassan Whiteside's going to be out, it says. Or at least yesterday in the injury report, he was out. So Dwayne Wade plays. I mean, doesn't really make a difference. So it'll be interesting to see how it all ends up. But Heat are going to win this one either way. All right? You got Goran Dragic, who's been having a solid season this year. So I got the Heat winning this one pretty easily. Then you got the Lakers facing off with the Warriors in Oakland at Oracle. I got to go with the Lakers. All right, no Klay Thompson, no Steph Curry. Lakers beat the Nuggets last night. Going to be feeling pretty good. Think they're going to be able to pull out the win in this one, right? Kevin Durant, he's got to do a whole lot in order for this team to win tonight. I mean, the Warriors just don't work without Steph Curry, and they definitely don't work without Klay Thompson. Kevin, like, and it's crazy too. Even without Klay and without Steph, the Warriors are still favored by 6.5 against the Lakers, and that's pretty interesting because of the fact that the Lakers pretty much play extremely well whenever they play the Warriors. Yeah, they're not always going to pull out the win, but nonetheless, they play extremely well. So I'm going to go with the Lakers in this one, right? I think they're going to be able to pull it out. So those are my picks for tonight. Like I said, I got the Bucks beating the Magic, Wizards beating the Celtics, Heat beating the Kings, and the Lakers beating the Warriors. That's my only upset pick tonight. That's actually going to wrap it up for today's show. Today, what did we talk about? Talked about Tuesday's NBA games. We talked about the Lakers and Nuggets little rivalry they got going on. Talked about the Celtics. Talked about who else we talked about? We talked about Celtics, talked about the Wizards, and for this one, we talked about LeBron, his little free agency decision he's got coming up. Talked briefly about it. Talked about the Warriors, Kings, and we made my picks. So, thanks for listening to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. We'll be back on Friday, so stay tuned, and we'll talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.